Hello and welcome to the Psychologies Life Labs course Restore Your Balance. This is week 3 and we're going to be looking at whether you're so busy looking after the needs of everybody else that your own needs are getting lost, and how you can make sure that your needs are recognised and met alongside other people's. So I'm Lorraine Weston, I'm a coach with Aspiring Mind, and I help people redesign their work and life so they align with their values. So are you the sort of person that if you're out with a group and everyone's thinking about where to go for dinner, you'll listen to what everyone else says and just goes with the majority decision, even if really you quite fancy something different? Or if your family are looking to go out to watch a film, you might have an idea of what you'd like to see, but when you realise that everyone else wants to see a different film, you don't mention your choice. So if you're always not recognising your own needs as being as valid and relevant as other people's, why might that be? When I was thinking about this question, I was reminded of an incident when I was at primary school, and we were asked to think of a word to describe all of the pupils in our class. So when that came to me, a few of my peers used the word gentle. Now I was actually very relieved because I was a very uncool child, so it really could have been a lot worse. So I was quite happy with gentle. But I think I kind of internalised some kind of attachment to that label. And that helped create my self-identity. And when I looked for looking at future careers, I veered towards helping careers. So I've been an occupational therapist and a coach. And my identity was very tied up with being someone who was nurturing and helping others. So therefore, to be assertive and maybe challenge someone else's view, or maybe even think that someone else might not do something that was their first choice because they were having to accommodate me, was actually really difficult to align with this value that I'd acquired of being this gentle person that looked after everybody else. So one thing I wonder, if you are someone who always puts other people's needs first, where do you think that might have come from? Because we might know in our head that our view and our feelings and our considerations are as important as anybody else's, but if we're not feeling that and not expressing that, maybe you too have underlying reasons that have led to you actually putting a higher value on the opinions of others. So why might it matter? Well, the main reason is that if we have a pressure cooker of resentment building up because we don't feel like our own needs have been met, that can build and that can accumulate, and then it's very likely that that resentment is going to either explode or seep out in our relationship with others, because at the end of the day we all need to have our own needs met. Now, pressure cookers are really good and useful things. They help us cook things a lot more quickly than they would do just on the hob. And I remember a time when I was young and my mum was cooking a stew in the pressure cooker, and she lifted the weights off before that pressure had reduced. And let me tell you, it was very messy. There was stew on the ceiling, stew all over the walls. Fortunately, none of us got burnt, but it was not a good situation. And if we're accumulating a pressure cooker of resentment and unmet needs, we can have similarly messy explosions. So it could be that you're talking to a cashier at the checkout and they say something that just triggers that response. They just maybe connect with that sense of being undervalued, that sense of not being heard, not being listened to, and all of a sudden we react in a really disproportionate way to what they've said. Or it might be that our children or our partner ask something of us, and it may be a very reasonable request, But because we don't feel that our needs have been listened to or heard, again, it's easy to react from that place of resentment rather than the response that we would like to give. So it is important that we find the right way forward to reconcile the need for, yes, being the person that we want to be, but also having our own needs met. So I wonder what might hold you back. Sometimes it's the thought that other people react badly if we suddenly start expressing our views when they're used to us always being the one that accommodates them. And yes, that is a risk. However, the best relationships are built on honesty and authenticity. And if we're not open about our own needs and our own wishes, that's not an authentic relationship. So you might actually find that your relationships are better for that honesty than they would be without. So why don't you think about the situation that maybe bothers you most, where you feel that you're not being valued and you're not being heard. So it might be at work that there's a job that needs doing and it always ends up being you that does it, because you maybe give the impression that you don't mind or you don't want to be confrontational or challenging. It might be at home that there's a chore that you do or something you would like to do that you don't have the time or space to do, and you've never really expressed that need. Or in a friendship where you feel like you're always the one that accommodates the other person, or you're not listened to, you always are the one playing the supporting role. Have a think about how you might be able to maybe just start expressing your view in an assertive way. And it might help to have a chat about the fact that you realise things need to change. Might even help if you write things down when you've had a chance to reflect. But see if you can make a change this week. Use the workbook and the questions on there to see if you can move forward in this area. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for listening. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye for now.